what's wrong with the IIP index? That's the question we are asking. Three experts. I have been speaking with Dr. Gurucharan Manna, who is now a senior advisor at the NCAER, but is a former Director General of the NSO, the National Statistical Organization, which puts together the IIP. Dr. Sudipto Mundle, Chairman, Center for Development Studies, and formerly chaired a commission on real sector data, and fellow journalist Pramit Bhattacharya. Gentlemen, thank you for your patience. Well, collecting physical data has been a problem all these years, but we now seem to have a more ready and probably relatively clean data like the GST. So let me start there, Dr. Mundle. Do you think trawling the GST should be an easy task? It comes industry-wise, company-wise, sorting it should not be that big a problem. Is that a good point to start?
Yeah. First of all, this has been on the cards, ever since the GST, the platform was created. But between an idea and translating that idea into action, there are many steps required.
Yeah.
And I don't think we have been ready yet with the GSTN to make it available in a form that could be incorporated into something like the index of industrial product. It has to be done. That should be the goal. I'm not sure that we're ready to do it yet.
Okay.
That being said, I want to make a couple of observations, and if I'm wrong, I hope Dr. Manna will correct me.
Yeah.
But let's say the GST data, now that comes in, it doesn't, it comes in by enterprises.
Yes.
Some enterprises paying GST, so the tax is on that. It is not on a sector. So there's a translation, a move, if you will, a mapping from units, enterprises to sectors. This has also been a problem, by the way, between the IIP and the Ministry of Corporate Affairs based data, which is again based on enterprises. These are business statistics. These are not industrial production statistics. But eventually you have to get there, but there are a lot of these hurdles which have to be cleared before we get there. And one other point I want to make is that the survey is, based on relatively large enterprises.
But Pramit, is it wise to throw the baby with the bathwater? I mean, not look at IIP data at all, as Dr. Mundle said, people are not taking it seriously. Or is it a time to, pull it up by the bootstraps?
So regardless of whether you want to improve IIP or not, you will have to build a dynamic business register. It is required for it will help in improving IIP, of course, but more importantly, perhaps it will help in improving the national accounts. And if you see, there was a implicit sort of admission that even the National Accounts Division is not very happy with the IIP when they moved to the new cities, because one of the things that they did was to use listed firms' data for capturing manufacturing GVA instead of IIP for the first rounds, later replaced by the NCAER-21. And they said it was an improvement, which meant that they also knew that IIP was not easy to fix. And yes, ASI data, if it is used, and especially in a chain-based manner, with a larger sample, as Dr. Manna recommended, can help improve things. But the ASI frame itself has been questioned. And for the longest time, they have been saying that they're trying to map ASI and NCAER-21. Even that has been difficult. Yeah. So these problems remain. There are hurdles in making these databases talk to each other. But that has to happen. I mean, we need a business register where we know that this part is manufacturing, this part is services, even within an enterprise. And we have to find a way to map all these key economic databases. Only then we can actually utilize the value of these data sets efficiently. And this again, from the Ranganathan Commission till now, various committees have consistently emphasized that we need a dynamic business register. This project is ongoing.
The GSTN is more interested in getting the money, not allowing anyone to escape the network, rather than, the fine details that economists and statisticians want. But it is a pity that we know nothing from the GSTN. We don't even know how much is services and manufacturing. I mean, can even an elementary categorization not be done? So 2 questions to you. One, should we completely overhaul and look only at tax data as a source of capturing production data?
I think, yes, there is a necessity to look at the GSTN database, but whether that would really serve the purpose of IIP, as per the methodology what we are following now, I think that needs little re-examination.
Okay.
I think one needs to look at GSTN database carefully, whether this type of data is available, first point. Second, if GSTN database cannot be used because of its limitations,
yes,
as per the existing methodology, you see, the immediate solution should be probably, I mean, it may not be a fine solution,
yes,
but I think we need to take remedial measures to improve our existing product, which is very, very important. And IIP numbers, the quarterly growth rates, etc., as you are aware, these are even being used in the compilation of quarterly GDP estimates,
yes,
particularly for unorganized sector. Given the importance of the IIP as a short-term growth for industrial production, the existing limitations,
yes,
which we are pretty familiar with, need to be, I mean, this to be safeguarded, and we need to take remedial measures.
Is it not possible to dynamically change the composition of the IIP, the number of products? I mean, do we have to wait for this 10-year program, and then after 10 years also it doesn't happen immediately? You know, it takes a while before it kicks in. I can tell you something very simple. I don't think too many people are wearing saris these days, but I'm very sure in the textile category, saris will be taken into account, will be given a greater weight than perhaps jeans or, other attire for women. Can we have a more quicker change of the list of items which genuinely represent the country?
No, if we again and again change the item basket or factories, etc., the panel gets disturbed. And once you change the item list year to year, where is the data with you? ASI data comes much later.
Yeah.
So I think we have to probably live with the existing approach, but whatever limitations we have in terms of, say, number of observations under an item, etc., we need to increase the coverage. Okay. And of course, change in the weighting diagram, okay, and quite frequent base revision. Instead of 10 year, 12 years gap, I think if we could revise the base once in 5 years, yes, which is the international recommendation, okay, I think that would be, to some extent, solving some of the problems.
Okay. Out of time, Dr. Mundle, last 10 seconds for you. How do we improve?
Yeah, let me just refer to something which has not been discussed. So quite apart from these technical issues we have been discussing, there is a governance issue. You know, you can fix a problem when you recognize that there's a problem. I must say, as an outsider, some engagement with MOSPI, that there is a tendency to, think that everything is fine. Yeah. Internally, they all know what is the problem. And again, Dr. Manna is better positioned since he was a real insider. But unless you recognize that there's a problem that needs urgent fixing, you're not going to get there.
Yes.
I mean, I agree with him. We shouldn't do these overnight, simple solutions. You have to do it very carefully. But you first have to recognize that we need a problem that needs fixing. We have a problem that needs fixing. Let me stop there.
All right. Take your point. Pramit, we will await more articles from you flagging off the problems in the IIP and other data that we use. Thank you very much, Pramit, Dr. Mundle and Dr. Manna. There is a recognition of the problems, but perhaps not by the authorities who need to change. And we await whether the IIP can be brought back to shape, or will it continue to be abandoned as an important indicator of economic growth. Wrap up on this edition of Indianomics. Thank you for watching.